What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and today we are going to bring you the tale of the tape for the Super Bowl matchup between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots. Don't worry, the hype video will be coming out tomorrow during your tailgate. If you want to get, the only kind of adrenaline rush you can get from watching Rocky while driving 300 down a highway with no seatbelt on, you're going to want to tune into my hype video tomorrow. But today is going to be more of the analytical approach for the tale of the tape. We're going to go through all the matchups and see what team on paper has the edge. We did it last week, or 2 weeks ago, for the Philadelphia Eagles NFC Championship game against the Vikings. And it was pretty hilarious looking back at the comments. All the people, when I gave the edge to the Philadelphia Eagles, all the Viking fans, I'm going to say right now. So there's been like a bunch of stuff in the media that the Eagle fans were horrific and just mean to these soft-skinned Viking fans when they travel to Lincoln Financial Field. I'll tell you one thing though, everyone knows the reputation Eagle fans have on the internet. I personally feel like Viking fans are just as bad. They are like the biggest group of whiners that I can recall coming out of nowhere. Like, you know, the notorious fan bases, Cowboys, Seattle, New England, I guess you could throw Philly in there. But through like the last couple of years of me doing like mock drafts for the Vikings and talking about the Vikings and Madden and this and that, man, the Vikings fan base is incredibly moody. They are like the most naggy, annoying fan base that I did not know was that bad. It's like they want to go out of their way to tell you that they're good or something like that. But yeah, looking back at the comments in that video, especially from the Viking fans, is pretty good for a laugh. But today we're focusing on, because we demolished the Minnesota Vikings in the NFC Championship. We are looking at the tale of the tape between the Philadelphia Eagles and the New England Patriots. So we're going to go through all of the main positions, and then we're going to have two kind of wild cards to see what we can have, and then we'll add up the tally at the end and see what team truly has the edge. It worked last week, or in the NFC Championship, to proving what team would win. Let's see if it works out for the Eagles in this one. So first things first is the quarterbacks. We have for Philadelphia Nick Foles, who is on fire right now. His game against the Minnesota Vikings was absolutely stunning. 350-some yards, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers, was flawless. His game against the Atlanta Falcons was incredibly clean, no costly turnovers, even though if luck was on the other side of things, Nick Foles probably could have a couple turnovers in that Falcons game. But going from the momentum that he gained against the Minnesota Vikings, I'm confident enough that he can do the job. I'm not confident enough that he can outduel Tom Brady. I'm not going to say that I'm confident enough if this game turns into a shootout, we can rely on Nick Foles to give a same performance that we did against the Minnesota Vikings. But ultimately, this whole worry that after Wentz went down, oh God, what's going to happen with the Foles, that is gone out the window. We've now seen, really 3 strong, really strong, he could start on probably half the teams in this league, performances from Nick Foles. We saw it against the New York Giants in the regular season. We saw it against the Falcons in the divisional round. We saw it against the Vikings in the championship. I think they said like Nick Foles has like the highest completion percentage of all time and like the best 2 games back-to-back in the playoffs. It's only him and Joe Montana. I believe they're the same like completion numbers. So he is playing very well. And then when you look at the New England Patriots, it's Tom Brady. He's the greatest quarterback of all time, probably the best football player of all time if you're judging it based off of accomplishments and stats only, and maybe not so much pure just talent. But Brady, we're giving the edge to New England. We're giving the significant edge to New England. This is Tom Brady's like almost 40th playoff game. This is Nick Foles' like 4th or 5th playoff game. So the experience goes to Brady when all is against the wall and you don't know if the team has a chance in hell of winning. Brady's time and time again will find a way to get the job done. We saw it against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It looked like the Patriots are getting handled. And then in the second half, I mean, I don't want to be that guy. We'll actually save the ref talk for the very end. But I'm not going to be that guy that puts it on the refs, because at the end, the second half, the Jags were playing safe and Tom Brady went off. You gave Tom Brady a chance. You can't do that. I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles will do that. But when we're talking from a straight-up matchup, the overwhelming significant edge is going to Tom Brady in this matchup. The most one-sided edge out of any of these breakdowns we're going to go through. Looking at the running back spot for the Philadelphia Eagles, we have Garrett Blount and Corey Clement. When you look at the New England Patriots, predominantly they are using Dion Lewis and James White. Now, I'm actually only giving the slight edge to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the Philadelphia Eagles have more balance. They have more things they can do with their running backs. I think Jai is the pound-for-pound most talented running back that will be playing in this game. LeGarrette Blount has some experience, and he's a good guy in the red zone, as we saw when he ran over Andrew Sendejo in the game against the Vikings. And Corey Clement is one of the most underrated receiving backs in football because he's an undrafted free agent and because he's kind of been lost in the shuffle of all of our running backs. I firmly believe that if you get Corey Clement a lot more touches he can be, close to that Alvin Kamara role with the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm not going to say he's going to be the next Alvin Kamara or anything like that, but as far as what Alvin Kamara did with the Saints, I think Corey Clement has the skill set to execute that. But the reason why it's not overwhelming, because you look at Skip Bayless, you listen to any of these big pundits that are talking about this, they're giving the big time edge to the Philadelphia Eagles. Then you got to realize that Philadelphia has historically struggled against receiving backs because tackling out in space, occasionally, either we tackle great out in space or we're absolutely horrific. There's no in between. And Dion Lewis and James White are two guys that, through the screen game, through just design passes, these are guys that when they get out in space, they are incredibly dangerous. So they are, in terms of a mismatch, they're the types of running backs you want to try to use against the Philadelphia Eagles. We saw it in the Falcons game. What's his name? Devontae Freeman, who likes to run between the tackles predominantly, he struggled. But Tevin Coleman, a guy that can be used in a bunch of varying ways, be it in the passing game and getting to the outside, he was going off against the Philadelphia Eagles. So ultimately, I do think the Patriots match up well, but in terms of talent, you got to give it to the Philadelphia Eagles. It's close. Next up is the wide receiver, so we're just going to go with the big three for each team. For the Philadelphia Eagles, we have Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Agholor, and Torrey Smith. For the New England Patriots, they have Brandon Cooks, Danny Amendola, and Chris Hogan. As well, I'm giving the slight edge to the Philadelphia Eagles because both of these units are on fire. Alshon Jeffrey and Nelson Agholor in particular are playing debatably their best football of the season. I think that Agholor hasn't got the touches, the sheer amount of touches that he was getting maybe when Carson Wentz was still there, but he is, right in that form. He's not dropping balls, he's making plays when we need to, and more importantly, Alshon Jeffrey is dominating right now. Alshon Jeffrey is playing his best football for the Philadelphia Eagles, bar none, right now in the playoff stretch, and he's the best player at the wide receiver spot on either one of these teams. So because of that, and because Torrey Smith looked like he's starting to heat up a little bit, I'm giving the slight edge to the Philadelphia Eagles. While I know Brandon Cooks might be a little bit of a mismatch, especially against Jalen Mills, the speed, getting him to bite, and Danny Amendola is just hitting that playoff form like he's on fire. I think if both these units show up, which one is going to play better? Obviously they have the better quarterback on New England, but I think in terms of what guys can beat their man, I think Alshon Jeffrey, especially going up against college teammate Stephon Gilmore, is a big-time matchup, and I think Alshon can get the better of him. So I'm giving the very, very slight edge to the Philadelphia Eagles. This is really the first one that, in the comments, if Patriot fans are coming in, I can believe on a given day the Patriots wide receiver core could be considered better than the Philadelphia Eagles. So it's very, very close. It's almost in the middle, and I'm giving, well, we'll say it's a tie, and I'm giving the slight edge here to the Philadelphia Eagles, but it can go either way. Moving on to the tight end position for Philadelphia, we have Zach Ertz, who in my opinion after this season has put himself right in that conversation to be considered the third best tight end in football behind Travis Kelce. And the New England Patriots, Rob Gronkowski. We're getting edge to the Gronk. Gronk is, in my opinion, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. I think when you look at all the positions across the NFL, if everyone is healthy, I think Rob Gronkowski is the most dominant player in his own position than anyone in the league by a considerable amount. I think Gronk is simply uncoverable when he's on fire. And really, the Jags kind of showed you the way you stop Gronk. You have to get him out of the game somehow. And I'm not saying go out and injure Rob Gronkowski. I really would rather say, hey, Philadelphia, we stopped Gronk. He was on the field for the whole game, and we stopped him. We have some players that can definitely get up in his face, be it Michael Kendricks, Nigel Bradham, Malcolm Jenkins. These types of guys definitely are capable of trying to contain Gronk. And, I don't think we have the exact same skill set to match up like the Jags, because the Jags are really kind of holding Gronk in check for the most part of the game. I don't think we definitely don't match up the same way the Jags do, because they can put on Telvin Smith, Miles Jack, Jalen Ramsey more importantly. But I think we're kind of close. We're in the stratosphere that I don't think Gronk, even with his best game, he's not going to have like 160 yards like he can against a lot of teams in the NFL. But still, if you're giving the edge, you have to give the big-time edge here to Rob Gronkowski. Even though on paper, both these tight ends can have monster games, I just personally believe that Gronk is the most dominant player by far in his own position in the NFL right now. And if he comes in, he has a concussion, but it looks like he's going to be fine and ready to go. That is a big-time worry for the Philadelphia Eagles. Moving on to the offensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles, we have Big V, who shut down Everson Griffin. I know Everson Griffin wasn't at 100%, but everyone, myself included, thought that was going to be a massacre if Philly left Big V out on an island against Griffin, and he held up very, very well. I was incredibly impressed with Big V, who's filling in for our All-Pro, Pro Bowl, Hall of Fame left tackle Jason Peters. We have Wisniewski, who's playing very, very well right now, best football of the season. Travis Kelce's brother, Jason Kelce, who was first-team All-Pro. We have Brandon Brooks, who probably should have been first-team All-Pro. And we have Lane Johnson, who's the best tackle in football. When you look at the New England Patriots, Nate Solder's playing his best football this season. They have Joe Thuney, David Andrews, Shaq Mason, and Cam Fleming replacing the injured Marcus Cannon. I'm giving a big-time edge here to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think the New England Patriots offensive line can do their job, and they can execute. But in terms of just eliminating whatever your front seven can do, you got to give the odds here to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think that the Eagles offensive line right now, even with the injuries, is the best offensive line and was playing like the best offensive line in the playoffs from day one, considering that we really have, you know, a gaping hole. I think Big V got like a 39 grade for Pro Football Focus for as much weight you want to put in it. That was like one of the worst starting tackles in football. To the way that he's been able to turn it around and play very, very consistently and outright at times look dominant, especially against Everson Griffin, who in his own right is a fringe all-pro type defensive end. You got to give the big-time edge here for the offensive line to the Philadelphia Eagles. And now, like I said, that's not saying the Patriots offensive line is terrible and they're going to get pancaked, but I think ultimately when you're breaking down the positional groups, if you want to go the other way, I much more would gamble on the Philadelphia Eagles front four going off than the New England Patriots front four because of the offensive line play. So because of that, edge Philadelphia. Moving to said defensive line for the Philadelphia Eagles, we have Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Timmy Jernigan, and then a rotation really of Chris Long, Derek Barnett, and Vinny Curry. Then when you look at the New England Patriots, they have Dietrich Weiss, Lord Sky, Malcolm Brown, and Trey Flowers. Really, the only guy on the New England Patriots defensive line that can really make big plays, I think, is Trey Flowers. When you look at the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line, everyone can make plays. I think ultimately for the Philadelphia Eagles, when you're looking at what can kind of compare to how overwhelmingly you're going to give Brady the edge over Nick Foles, it's the Philadelphia Eagles defensive line over the Patriots defensive line. In all reality, the Patriots front seven is average. They are average. They have a great coach that can put them in positions to make plays. But in terms of talent, and when you play two good teams, and the talent is truly what's going to trump just scheme, the Philadelphia Eagles are 10 times better than the New England Patriots. This is, if how much Brady is better than Foles is the big concern on offense, then when you look at the defense, it's how much better the Philadelphia Eagles defensive front is than the New England Patriots one. And seeing the Patriots offensive line, this is how we're going to win, man. We're going to have to put Brady under pressure if you're an Eagles fan, and I definitely think that is going to happen. We are giving the big-time edge for defensive line to the Philadelphia Eagles. Moving to the linebackers for the Philadelphia Eagles, we have Nigel Bradham, Donnell Ellerby / Najee Good, and Michael Kendricks. For the New England Patriots, it's kind of like a weird rotation, but we'll give James Harrison, because he's been heating up lately, a spot. Kyle Van Noy and Elandon Roberts. For this, I'm giving the edge to the Philadelphia Eagles. I like the experience, especially from James Harrison. I can just picture in my hand James Harrison getting like a fumble on Nick Foles or something like that early in the game. They have that experience, but ultimately, pound for pound, in terms of consistency and talent, you have to give the, I'm not going to say a big-time edge, but a pretty easy, agreeable edge here to the Philadelphia Eagles linebackers. Jumping to the cornerbacks for the Philadelphia Eagles, we have Jalen Mills, Ronald Darby, and Patrick Robinson. For the New England Patriots, they have Stephon Gilmore, Malcolm Butler, and former Philadelphia Eagle Eric Rowe. I'm giving the edge here slightly to the New England Patriots. I think if I'm going by the assumption that it's a Super Bowl. Both these units are going to show up. If the Patriots second corners play their best football, the Eagles corners play their best football, it's pretty close, but I think Stephon Gilmore, Malcolm Butler, especially Malcolm Butler, who has obviously the big famous interception against the Seattle Seahawks on the 1-yard line, I'm giving the experience and the talent slight edge to the New England Patriots. However, the Philadelphia Eagles corners that have been disrespected all season long, they are on fire right now. They are probably the most fire unit on this team, maybe after Nick Foles. They're playing out of their mind, especially Jalen Mills, who has been getting torched. He's like the most targeted corner in the NFL. Really, he's probably a safety playing corner, but I think you have to give the edge here to the New England Patriots. But it's definitely a good time for Philadelphia Eagles secondary to be heating up, because you got to find a way to stop Tom Brady. Look at the safeties for the Philadelphia Eagles. We have Rodney McLeod and Malcolm Jenkins. For the Patriots, they have Devin McCourty and Patrick Chung. I'm giving this one here to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think experience-wise, you definitely have to go towards New England, but ultimately you got to remember Malcolm Jenkins has a Super Bowl ring when he's playing for the New Orleans Saints. He has the experience. He's probably going to be the vocal leader on the field for that game, so I'm giving a slight edge for them. Rodney McLeod has been playing much, much better, as has Malcolm Jenkins. I've been heavily criticizing Malcolm Jenkins for having his worst season for the Philadelphia Eagles this year, but he's definitely stepped it up down the stretch ever since Carson Wentz got hurt. He's been playing very, very well in the playoffs, so the safety edge goes to the Philadelphia Eagles. Special teams, we got Jake Elliott, Donnie Jones, Donnie Longball, and Kenyon Barner. And for the New England Patriots, you have Gostowski, Allen, and Amendola. Again, I'm going to give the slight edge here to the Patriots just because they have the more experienced kicker. However, 61-yarder. We have the big cannon leg. We have Jake Elliott, who's going to be taking over for Sebastian Janikowski for like the biggest leg in the NFL, I think. I'm confident with our special teams unit, but I'm going to give the slight edge just from experience and, putting the kicker under pressure. I'm giving it to Gostkowski. So then we go to the two intangibles. First up is adversity, what both these teams have had to endure to get here. Obviously, we know with the Philadelphia Eagles, no Carson Wentz, who's going to be the MVP. Darren Sproles, Jason Peters, Jordan Hicks. When you look at the Patriots, it hasn't been all clean. They lost Julian Edelman, who's probably the top slot wide receiver in football. We lost Dante Hightower, who's a very good linebacker, and Marcus Cannon, the starting right tackle. We're going to give the slight edge here to the Philadelphia Eagles. And by slight edge, I mean convincing edge to the Philadelphia Eagles. Then when you look at momentum / just other, for the Philadelphia Eagles, we've been the underdogs all playoffs, so we have that underdog mentality. That's what you've seen with like the I don't know what dog it is, but the dog masks. Nick Foles and the cornerback unit is on fire. Our two weaknesses are playing their best football of the season, you would assume. Those were, the Nick Foles taking over Carson Wentz was a big-time question mark, and how our secondary would hold up throughout these playoffs will be a big question mark. And I think you probably could say there are two hottest units on the football field right now. Then when you look at the Patriots, they have Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, and you have the refs. So we first talk about Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, two of the greatest, maybe the greatest of all time. So that is going to be a daunting task within itself. And then you have the questionable ref plays. And I'm not one to watch that Jags game and say the Jags lost that game because of the refs. But when Gronk got out of the game, then Barry Church rocked Gronk, and then they got the most gimmicky pass interference. It just felt so scripted. It was a terrible PI call to put the ball on the one, and the Patriots were able to score a touchdown before halftime. And I was like, oh my God. And I'm not one of these big conspiracy theorist people that think that the league's trying to help out the Patriots, or else Deflategate and all these other things. But you have to differentiate yourself between the league and the refs, and I really, really do feel like the refs could very well play a part in this matchup. I don't want them to. It's Sterator, so unless he brings out a cue card or something like that, we should be fine. He's probably the best ref from this season. But, as an Eagle fan, that is definitely something that we're going to watch on, is the Patriots getting favorable calls. That's what we'll say. We'll just say favorable calls. We're not saying that the refs will be giving the game away. It's just Brady's a veteran, and more often than not, if he throws an incomplete pass in the end zone, he's looking for the PI, and it seems like the refs are inclined to give it to him. So that's definitely something for another day. I want this to be a clean game. I want this to be two teams showing up, playing their best football, and the best team wins. It's not based around what the refs do. But those are my my breakdowns. This final score is Philadelphia with 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the New England Patriots was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 7-5, the Eagles. So if it goes like my NFC Championship game, that means the Philadelphia Eagles should be able to win this one. Let me know what you guys think about this Super Bowl in the comments section below. As always, if it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you are hyped for the Super Bowl tomorrow. Make sure you stay tuned for my hype video that'll be coming out early tomorrow afternoon. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace